Human beings are social creatures. As what I mean by that is we thrive on three different qualities that are very important to us. It's love, communication, and trust. These three big qualities will really encompass the person that who we're going to become, and how as we grow older through our lives and what decisions we make and everything. So, as being in a relationship, your partner will have their own set of traits and values and morals, as well as your own. You have to compass together in some kind of fashion. So, as this topic for me, attachment styles and relationships really means a lot to me in a lot of ways. For a couple of reasons why. That I'm a psychology major in Moorpark College right now. I mean, as a career, I want to become a family therapist, which is really important to me. And lastly, I spent a lot of my own personal time on this subject because I've been wanting to do research about it because I've always been curious about it. And that since not just myself, but everyone I can speak of has like been into relationships and had to find some way to navigate them, and we have had issues with it. So I wanted to become more knowledgeable about it and find out what I can do. And I feel like this conversation is very important because I think it needs to be cultivated for others who may not know what to do in their relationship, or may just want information to know, like, so if they get another one or in the one they're in now, at least they'll know what to do and hopefully give some nice and interesting feedback. Today we'll discuss the different styles in relationships. First, the 4 attachment styles that occur. Second, why they're important to know. And third, what methods can be implemented to help alleviate the different attachment styles. First, we look at the different attachment styles relationships and show how they're different from each other. Let's start by looking at the first 2 of the different attachment styles that exist in relationships today. There's about 4 of them. In his 2012 academic journal, Self-Improvement as a Response to Interpersonal Regulation in Close Relationships, a psychologist named Hong Zhang discusses the avoidant attachment style. When you're avoidant attachment style, the partner becomes very distant of whoever they're with, and feels when that happens because they feel like their independence has been threatened, and that they feel like they're losing their self. They're essentially like they don't know who they are anymore because they worry about their partner's needs solely, not their own. So that's what ends up happening. Another point that Hong brings up is anxiously attached individuals. With an anxiously attached individual, that person will have irrational thoughts, anxiety about their partner, and they'll actually lose the sense of intimacy with them. They'll feel like their intimacy is never enough, and that like they'll always overdo everything and end up being codependent on their partner, which that shouldn't never be the case. You're supposed to be independent of your partner. Now we know the first 2 types of attachment styles of the 4. These last two worth mentioning. The disorganized attachment style is by far the worst of the 4. In her 2019 web article, Marina Bakarova, a psychologist, explains about disorganized attachment style. And if you're disorganized attachment style, you end up having a self-deprecating vision of yourself. You have a lot of fear and anxiety that's actually developed over time through childhood. And with having that, you went through a traumatic experience through being a child with your parents, and you've seen your parents as not as loving and caring as they should be, but instead actually as fearful and actually a threat to your well-being, which creates a whole disconnect of intimacy and closeness. The last attachment style of the 4, being the most ideal, and actually about 50% statistically speaking, is what the world is actually of this style of attachment. As Francis Stevens, a psychologist, explains in his article, authenticity, a mediator in the relationship between attachment style and effective functioning, shows that we, as a secure attachment style, you have a higher emotional intelligence. You don't have only really rational thoughts about your partner or yourself. There's really no discrepancy is there for your relationship. It's actually pretty great overall as a person, even in your relationship to your partner. There's no issues whatsoever. Now that we've come to understand the different array of attachment styles in relationships, let's move forward to what some of these styles work and while others may not. Now let's examine the importance of knowledge behind relationship attachments. First, we'll discuss why different relationship attachment styles deal with different types as well as their own. The 3 different psychologists explained in this 2012 academic journal, Attachment Styles and Relationship Quality, Actual, Perceived, and Ideal Partner Matching, Kaylee, Marianne, and me, hypothesized that an individual will choose a partner that possesses the same attachment style. And by doing that, pretty much just like someone who is like, let's say, like two different insecure attachment styles. One being anxious and avoidant, like we just previously mentioned before. That anxious could do well with anxious, as well as someone who is either secure, disorganized or disorganized, or avoidant for avoidant. Just depends like that way. Because they're both the same realm. There's no different changes between the two, or the four of them. Another hypothesis from the same study by the three of them that combination styles may be preferred was someone that's an avoidant or someone that's anxiously attached. So another hypothesis they conducted in their study was that you can be avoidant and also be, and then your partner can be secure and actually work well, surprisingly, even before, like, it just depends on like the dynamic of the people, not just what they possess. The next we'll discuss how positive emotions make an impact on relationships. Kaylee, Marianne, and me state that positive emotions on ourselves and each other can go a long way. If individuals perceive the relationship being more positive, they'll think of their relationship as like in a better light. They won't like have any like irrational feelings about it, and like any negative thoughts or feelings about it that when in doing so, will help them relationship in so many ways, for having such a positive outlook of it. And then also their ideal partner who they're with the positivity actually has manifested in actually like a great way, because due to the positive emotions that have been presented. An academic journal called A Response to Commentaries on Positivity in 2019 by three psychologists, Jeanne, Marianne, and Guido, describe how positivity can help with the present, past, and future with development of self-reflection, recalling, and forethinking. Is that like when you talk about when you recall certain events that happened in your life, you will never talk like I said before, in a negative aspect. Always be positive. Even like future events are going to happen from now, you'll have no ever issues of like saying, oh, it's going to be a bad time now, like it was such a bad experience for me. Like you're always going to be like, have a positive outlook. You're going to be like, oh, really excited for it. It's going to be a great time. Now that we've gone over why knowing relationships are important for yourself and your partner, let's continue what methods can be useful to help yourself and your partner be in a relationship. Finally, let's look at what methods can be useful and for helping each other while being in a relationship, also helping yourself. What therapy is suited best with attachment styles in the relationships? A study done in 2011 by researchers Sandy, Saskia, and Janet with their academic journal, a feasibility study of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for individuals with borderline personality disorder. And with mindfulness, they talk about mindfulness pretty heavily in their study, is that mindfulness is a type of self-help therapy. You use meditation primarily, in that you use different aspects. So say like running water. Running water it always flows no matter what. There's never no stop. It doesn't stop at all. It doesn't cease. It always continues no matter what. So that's like thoughts, for example, or stress even. Stress is like you're constantly on the same thought all the time and you can't go past it. So then running water, it all just flows. There's no stopping anything like that. So it means like even negative thoughts, they'll just keep going. They won't be present. But another point of mindfulness, it can help someone mentally who may have BPD, which I mentioned of the borderline personality disorder, which is linked to disorganized attachment style. When you have borderline personality disorder, you definitely have, like I mentioned, is like you have bad self-image. You have from child trauma, which is like what's really linked to disorganized, and that you'll never have like a really successful relationship because of it. So with mindfulness, it can really help not just the BPD, but also having an attachment style being disorganized. There's so many ways, because it shows participants the nature of thoughts, feelings, and body sensations, that you actually become really fine-tuned with yourself. In conclusion, the different attachment styles are vast, and each of them have their own distinct issues, which can be fixed with therapy. Today, we discuss the different types of attachment styles in relationships, why they're important to know, and what methods can be implemented to make you more knowledgeable and alleviate the different attachment styles in relationships while being in a relationship. Relationships can be difficult for all of us. Some can be very easy and others difficult in which we lose ourselves in different issues. But as long as we find ourselves and come to common ground together. Organize. I mean, in a relationship, you're going to come to common ground together and find some way that like nothing can pass you along, or no problems on the road. The bumps in the road become seamless to your partner, and there'll always be a better day look ahead, and that you've come together through these different processes, and find common ground again, and like you feel like how you fell out of the first place, and it's come back again. So thank you.